Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Adam and Gwen, and of course, Leah, and everybody at Swanee for giving me the chance to come back this year. The last time I was here was back in 2010, and it was here in Jill McCorkle's workshop that I first started to think of my manuscript as an actual book. And it's here at Swanee that I met my agent, Michelle Brower, and we're still together 11 years and 3 books later. And I really think of Swanee as the place that changed the trajectory of my writing life, and I wish the same for all of you. So I'm going to read from my new novel. It's called Counterfeit. It is coming out next summer, and thank you. And it's a book, such a welcoming, we should always clap when people have books. But it's a book that's centered on the luxury counterfeit handbag industry. And it's also a book about Asian Americans overthrowing the model minority myth and demanding more from life. And it's a book that poses the question, what does it mean in this day and age to pursue the American dream? So the protagonist is a straight-laced, rule-abiding Asian American corporate lawyer named Ava Wong Desjardins. And through a series of circumstances, she gets pulled into her old college roommate's counterfeit handbag crime ring. And Winnie, this is her college roommate, Winnie's ingenious scheme involves buying designer handbags from exclusive department stores, getting the corresponding super fakes made in China. She returns the super fakes to the department stores for a refund and sells the real bags on eBay. So as you can imagine, the scheme is wildly successful, and they make a lot of money, but as all criminal schemes go, at some point it comes crashing to the ground. Winnie disappears, and Ava's left to face the consequences and confess their crimes. So in this particular chapter, Ava is completing her first assignment for Winnie, which involves going to Guangzhou, China. And so if you may already know this, but Guangzhou is the counterfeit handbag capital of the world. Actually, it's the counterfeits capital of the world, like counterfeit electronics, counterfeit car parts, counterfeit medicines, all of that is made in Guangzhou, and all of it is sold out in the open in regular shopping malls. So this is Ava in one of these malls. Inside the mall, I peered into shop after tiny shop, ogling the handbags crammed onto shelves like grocery cans. These lower-tier stores stocked a hodgepodge of brands, a compilation of the luxury handbag industry's greatest hits. The Gucci Dionysus next to the Fendi Baguette next to the Louis Vuitton Speedy. The more upscale, higher-priced stores focused on single brands, Celine or Goyard or Issey Miyake's Bao Bao line in every style and color ever dreamed up. The stores in the highest tier held prime locations right by the escalators. They were spacious and decorated with intention and had actual business names like Cherished Dreams handbags and Revive the Nation leather goods. Taking their cues from real designer boutiques, they displayed each bag like a sculpture beneath a single spotlight. Even their sales staff was super A quality. When I asked to take a closer look at a Chanel clutch on a high shelf, a lithe young woman clad in a classic tweed jacket walked me through the replica's many virtues, from the buttery calfskin imported from France to the glistening gold-toned hardware. Across the way, a gargantuan chartreuse Birkin the size of a bassinet lured me into an immaculate store that sold only Hermes. With its opulent Instagram-ready windows featuring random accessories for the haute bourgeois life of leisure, a backgammon set crafted entirely from untreated cowhide, a glossy horse saddle and matching riding crop, this store would not have been out of place on Madison Avenue or Rue Saint-Honoré. In addition to the sizable handbag section, a corner of the store was devoted to those iconic silk scarves, another to candy-colored enamel jewelry, a third to riotously patterned dishware. I lifted a Kelly bag in a vivid amethyst shade off the shelf and turned it this way and that, as though I knew what to look for. A sales associate dressed all in black, except for an emerald and magenta silk triangle draped from her neck, told me it was a brand new fall color. It's lovely, I admitted. How much? I converted yuan to dollars in my head and was sure I'd done the math wrong, so I sheepishly tapped the numbers into my phone. $1,400. How much did you say? I asked. She repeated the number. It's a good deal. Right, I said. I see. Winnie had said the real thing went for 12 grand, so in a sense, the associate was right. I gingerly returned the bag to the shelf and left, still firmly under the belief that no handbag, real or fake, could possibly be worth that much. No longer in the mood to explore, I went straight to the 4th floor to complete what I'd come to do. It was late morning and the mall bustled with wholesale shoppers wheeling oversized suitcases that would soon bulge with merchandise to be fanned out across shelves in Manila and Buenos Aires and Moscow. Tucked away in the very back of the complex, 0421 was modestly decorated and badly lit and had no sign above the entrance. I told the attendant, a model thin young man with hollow cheeks, that I worked for Feng Wen-yi, and he offered me a stool and a glass of hot tea before calling to check on my order. It's ready, he announced, and then went back to tapping on his phone. I looked around, wondering what I was supposed to do next. Pick the bags right off the shelves? Was that the Gabrielle right there in the corner? Could I pull out my phone to discreetly compare it to the picture I'd saved earlier this morning? An older man burst into the store. He was short and muscular, sporting fashionably ripped jeans and pristine white high tops. Nice to meet you, nice to meet you. Come with me, he said, without bothering to introduce himself. I was confused. Where? Now he was confused. Where? To get your bags. Oh, I said, good, let's go. He led me down a back staircase that reeked of cigarette smoke. You're American? He asked, scanning me from head to toe. Yes, that's why my Chinese is so bad. He laughed. It's decent. So where are we going? I asked. He pointed into the indeterminate distance, down the road. He walked briskly, dodging motorcycles, ignoring traffic lights, and I fought to keep up, raising the palm of my hand to drivers in both a gesture of apology and a plea for them to brake before they hit me. We passed another massive shopping center that specialized in the metal hardware that festooned bags and belts and shoes. I didn't dare ask my companion how these stores, all of which sold the same few items, could possibly survive side by side. That's how little I knew. It would take me a few more months to grasp the size and complexity of the counterfeit accessories trade. The man turned down a narrow street and stopped in front of a shabby-looking apartment building. Here? I asked. I'd expected a warehouse with security, maybe a receptionist. He shot me a sidelong look. Yep. He pulled out a ring of keys and unlocked the front door. I followed him down a darkened hallway, listening for any signs of life beyond the walls, sniffing the air for cooking smells. The building was eerily still. If for some reason I had to scream, would someone come to my aid? He stopped before the last door at the end, and I sized him up. He was only a couple of inches taller than me, but when he pushed open the door, his forearm flexed, displaying ropey muscles, bulging veins. He flicked on a light. A slim length of neon yellow glinted in his back pocket, a box cutter. I took a step back. Hold on, I said, pulling out my phone and studying the blank screen. Sorry, I have to take this call. He left the door ajar. I typed a message to Winnie. This man, older, short, muscular, wants me to go inside his apartment to get the bags. This can't be right. I stared at the screen, willing a response to appear. Who knew who else was inside that apartment waiting for a naive American to stroll right through? I removed the money from my wallet, 2 measly 20s, and jammed them into my bra. I laced my house keys between my fingers and wondered if, when push came to shove, I'd really dare gouge out an eye. I checked my phone, no response. The man's head popped out around the side of the door, startling me. Ready? What choice did I have? I stuffed my phone in my purse and went inside. Bulging, jumbo-sized garbage bags filled the floor of the main room, which was unfurnished except for 2 plastic chairs and a plastic table with an overfilled ashtray, all pushed up against one wall. The door clicked shut, and I heard the man turn the lock. Sweat surged beneath my arms, but my mouth went dry. Behind my back, I clenched my fingers around my keys. Want something to drink? I stammered, no thanks. He picked his way to the kitchen and emerged with 2 green bottles of beer, one of which he held out to me. I shook my head, and he shrugged and deposited the spare on the plastic table. He pulled the box cutter from his pocket, extended the blade, and deftly popped off the bottle cap before taking a long swig. I don't want to take up too much of your time, I said, speaking loudly to drown out my thrashing heartbeat. He wiped his mouth at the back of his hand and pointed the blade in my direction. I sucked in a breath. You and Fang Wenyi, how long have you been working together? What was the right answer? I said, only a short while, but we've known each other for 20 years. She's very capable, he said. Yes, she seems to be very good at her job. He wagged the box cutter like a finger. Yes, too good. I could not parse where this was going. She got me in trouble with the big boss. He doesn't like the price she bargained me down to. Make sure she knows it's a one-time thing. I'll pass on your message, I said. I don't make decisions. I follow instructions. I'm supposed to inspect the shipment? He stuck the box cutter in his back pocket, took another swig of beer, and belched softly. So where are the bags? I asked. My keys tumbled onto the floor, and I bent to retrieve them. He narrowed his eyes. Why so antsy? You're in a rush? The lie gushed out of me. Yes, actually, my family's here in Guangzhou. I'm meeting them for lunch, my husband and my son. Your husband, he's American? I knew what he meant. Yes. What does he do? He's a surgeon. How old is your son? 12, I said, and then wondered why I'd bothered to lie. I pictured Ollie and my imaginary 12-year-old crashing through the door to rescue me. The man closed the distance between us, and like one giant muscle, my entire body tensed. When his hand went for his back pocket, a cry rose in my throat. He pulled out his phone. My son's 10, he said, almost as big as yours. He thumbed the screen and offered an image of a chubby boy spinning a basketball on one finger. I could have collapsed onto the heap of garbage bags in relief. Very handsome, I said.
That was great. It's a bit floppy. Hi, folks. My name is Ambalila Hemsell. If you've met me here, you can call me Leela. You can call me either name. I answer to both, but only one 97-year-old auntie really calls me Ambalila. I'm going to read from my first book, Queen in Blue, which came out in March of 2020, so it hasn't had very many readings, and it hasn't had any in person yet. And I'll just read a smattering. I liked how Carl set us up, so I'm going to read one long poem and then 5 short poems. And yeah. I think I wanted to read this one subconsciously because we're in the South, and because I noticed when I was walking around, a lot of the streets on campus are named after Confederate states. Did you guys notice that? And there's a lot of Civil War history around here, obviously. History/memory. After Raoul Peck's film, I'm Not Your Negro. This poem has a lot of language from James Baldwin via that film, Baldwin being one of the great teachers we have if we're American. 1. James Baldwin says, history is the present. And in the film, all the brown-eyed, clean-cut white boys, righteous at the lynching, remind me of my father. No, my father when he was young, in the pictures I saw after his mother died. Let me be clear, he wasn't one of those boys. His stepdad was. My Indian mother and brother and sister are all still scarred from someone supposed to be family talking like that. We never called him anything but his name. They kept their small house freezing, stubborn, unwinnable fight against the Gulf heat. The blinds closed, the television on. My brother and sister told me I was loved best in that house because I looked the whitest. I didn't love that grandmother until her husband was dead, and she was lost to dementia, which made her gentle. When my brother and I visited the nursing home, she mistook us for a couple, noticed the way tenderly we made each other laugh. If she had ever loved us less for being brown, she had no memory of it. I don't believe that was the reason she was so strange to us. I don't believe she understood my father. He rejected all she had given to him, world of white picket fences, world that was already dying when he left for California, then India, and 15 years without a phone call. Whatever love she had for us was caught up in the loss of him, her only child, caught up in that impossible heartbreak. Toward the end of the film, Baldwin admits a certain reluctant fealty to America. It bursts like a wet firecracker, spinning off purple into the night, hissing in spite, in spite, in spite, in spite, in spite, in spite, in spite. 2. Baldwin talks about growing up loving John Wayne, but the moment you realize that you are the Indian. I always thought I was the Indian, but are you Egyptian, Middle Eastern, Persian, Greek, Egyptian, Native American? What tribe? Where are you really? I mean, really? You don't look it. You look Russian, French, European. Are you Moroccan? Where are you from? I am Roma, and you look just like my daughter. No, what a beautiful Jewish woman. Are you Afghani? You look like the girl from the National Geographic. Has anyone ever told you that? Does anyone ever tell you to prepare for a lifetime of cognitive dissonance? And why not? When Baldwin says, America has no place for you, he's talking about the feeling that you don't belong, can't possibly belong here. It's hardly unique. What were my white ancestors up to during the American Civil War? Wasn't Texas part of the Confederacy? When I found out they were mercenaries, I was mirthful. I mean, I laughed because it made sense. They didn't own anything. Sometimes you're too poor to pick a side. Sometimes you just grin, pick up your gun and gin, and follow the money. Something very Wild West about all the family apocrypha. Rumor that my father's father's mother was half Indian and a cousin of the outlaw Jesse James. Her husband, my great-grandfather, a sheriff. Nothing is ever just, and 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 nothing is ever just one thing or another. 3. Amid his resounding, crystal clear assessment of America, James Baldwin confronts his discomfort with his own position among the men whose lives and deaths he seeks to catalog: Medgar, Martin, Malcolm, discomfort with having outlived them, and with the reason why he was not an activist, but a witness. Without discounting this discomfort, he makes a place in the tumble of history for the writer. White is just a metaphor for power, he says, and I know this is correct. And I guess it's up to the whites. I don't know if I am one, but I know I can write, to rewrite it. My son, little blonde boy, few strands of brown shot through, might ask me someday. And what for will I tell him? What should I tell him? Should I tell him you are the sum of, you are the son of who you are who? Will I tell him you are the son, you are the sum of who you are and what you do next? Thank you. Really wish I brought my water bottle up here. Oh my God, yes. Switching contexts to Morocco and a little working class neighborhood. I lived there briefly in Rabat. The neighborhood, Akari, Rabat, Morocco. The man with the small, sweet tomatoes, deepest red, dash of orange, dash of blue, he liked to throw an eggplant in for the boy, a little head of cauliflower. Taking my hand into both of his, sandstone palms, topography of decades, he would tell me the number of coins, of days, number of nights in the holy month. Nearby, the cliffs strewn with glass shards, hovering sparks of light, and the hole that led straight down through the roof of the cave to sloshing green Atlantic. In July, at dusk, I would run the busy road along the sea, sun like an apricot through the smog, smog coming in through the windows, uninvited guest. I went about speaking French to shopkeepers, who would anyway place their best fruit on my bad tongue. . Young with Bad Wrists. I heard on the radio, soon our cars will not need us. Do not worry, your favorite operating system will be synced to the dashboard and you will be free to bend your neck, thumbs sending bits soaring like shards of glitter through the cosmos. Soon you will be soothed by the flicker even here in your little metal boat while the black road pours itself beneath you like a river. I heard this is what we want. Oh, radio, beloved wave technology, friend in the night, dishwashing friend, friend while driving the endless yellow sunflower Kansas interstate. Someone was once uneasy with you, your low, measured voices disembodied, the way I am uneasy with this faith in the way forward. They say it will not glitch like me. Never decide to drive home in the buoyant, small hours of warmth and abandonment. Enough. I once loved a computer man, a proud atheist, but one who murmured, "Oh, one, oh, one, oh, one," all night, like a monk on his knees, running fingers over scripture, "Oh, one, oh, one." I didn't say anything, but on my knees in the garden, dug beats from the dirt with my bare hands. It was summer. I would come inside for one thing only, his skin luminescent as a screen. It was like dating the future, a man who doesn't expect you to call, won't ask you to stay. The future, my one true heartbreak, an ache that lasts and lasts. Young with bad wrists, a taste of what's coming. Oh, sweet future, if I scroll your feed, will you feed my soul? Will you slow this fleeting? Will you cook me something good? And then, organ of the callous cactus, I feel for you. Ludicrous, too big, magenta, cast against this dusty geology, born only to summer. There is love, and then there is the body. O'Keeffe knew. No bullshit in the landscape of sex and death. The dirt in the desert is clean, clear of the human racing as if we couldn't wait to die. There is movement, and then there is the tiny, unheated swarming of Drosophila to cider, life to drowning. Have you ever been in a canyon so loud with ghosts one blew right in? I have. A second crackle of light. There is want, and then there is the pressing into of coal-wanting diamond, the agony of shaping your own self into something worth carrying around. See there the shapes the old sea made, epochs marked in ochre and rust. There we were, and there we weren't. I tell you, there is time, and then there is ripening to rot, the doom of paper bag to apple, the moon hovering, yellow and toothy, inevitable. Extinction is a hollow word. Blow into it. I'm gonna give you the two poem warning. Two more. The wanting. Put simply, the wanting was for one thing only, to plant a seed, to bear fruit. Never mind, the world was ending. I closed my eyes and saw Shiva Shakti, destruction himself, making love to his wife. I saw a tank gun stuffed with daisies, the dance of nitrogen and algae. I tended sunflowers and a few heads of cabbage, paper-mache'd my fence with $1 bills. On YouTube, a trembling black rhinoceros lay on her side, dying of old age. I clipped the weeds and warmed the cream, whisked 4 yolks with a 1/4 cup sugar. These were the last days of our leisure, simple pleasure, giving blood meal to the kitchen window tomatoes, eating a sandwich of roast beef with horseradish. Meanwhile, humanity waged a long war with itself, unable to stave its great paper hunger. At 18, brave and bursting, I shared a house in Portland with 2 heroin junkies. They ate only ice cream and white sugar with a spoon. I thought they were harmless enough, but now I know they were killing their mothers. It was hard to know how much longer we had. The weather was terribly unpredictable. I could neither numb nor fool my itching womb. The wanting kept me spinning thread between finger and thumb, wondering what could be sacrificed so that I might be blessed. Tigers I thought I would miss, but countless others were already gone, unnamed and unnoticed. I watched. Some eggs hatched, others were eaten. Some kittens nursed, others lay inert. A robin careened into the greenhouse, slumped into the geraniums. I left him there to die in peace, but he didn't. All right, one more. Sex in the Anthropocene. Open and on top, I thought, we will be happy and full of oceans. We will make like the gods and run. I pictured the porcupine fish, serendipitous balloon. I thought, keep your poison close and your lover closer, and like this I lived sweetly in the aquamarine. Then I came like an angel, giant wings spread above you, all the while resisting the simple circle rolling forward, the unstoppable wheel. Overrated future, serrated future, old bread knife of a future, future of no softness, no bumbling, no beech nuts, touchless future, future where all the gold is wrapped into circuitry. Where is the blessed, weird ocean, the porcupine fish, the goddamn porcupine? Where are the quills, and where is the squid? I want to write a love poem. Beloved, you are holding my hand. Between our palms is a light. Hold tight.